Greetings, everybody, and welcome here to Prog Monster on this rainy, stormy night, which has just started recently, so I hope there's no noise going to interrupt what we're doing here. So my name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So this episode that we're doing tonight is an episode of What's New, which usually comes out Thursday night. That's the night that I scheduled for it. But the album that somebody had asked me to review actually wasn't released till today, January the 12th, 2024. This is the 23rd studio album from this band called Magnum. Here Comes the Rain, which is actually apropos considering what's going on outside today. Just started pouring where we were supposed to get snow and rain and high winds starting around 6 o'clock, but it's now 6:45 and we still are just getting them now. So this album was released on the Steamhammer label, and of course it was released today. It's just kind of ironic that the main guy in the band, Tony Clarkin, passed away only 5 days ago, just prior to this album coming out. And the band, I think, has announced that this will be their final album, their 23rd album. And, of course, he's gone. And I don't know much about these guys other than what I heard from listening to them. I believe they are what they would call a melodic hard rock band. And based on the music I've heard, they certainly fall within that range. So let's get on with it here. So the band is called Magnum, of course. In Magnum is Tony Clarkin, at least he was until 5 days ago, on guitar. Bob Catley on vocals. Rich Benton on keyboards. Dennis Ward on bass. And Lee Morris on the drums. Actually, from listening to this, as I was listening to it, the longer it went on, the album went on, and the more I listened to it, the more I kept getting this images of John Bon Jovi. His voice is actually, the vocalist voice actually reminds me of John Bon Jovi. It's in that raspy kind of melodic kind of radio-friendly kind of voice that you get with Bon Jovi. I hear that here a lot. What else can I tell you about this? That's generally speaking. Yeah, so overall there's quite a bit of piano and keyboards on this album. They're kind of forward. The guitar riffing is forward as well. It is a guitar riffing primarily dominated album, I think, but it's not heavy guitar riffing. This is more like just a kind of, between hard rock and power pop type sound to it. I did do a little bit of notes on the songs on the album. I'll just go over them slightly. So it's unfortunate that they lost the main guy just 5 days prior to the release of the album. That's got to set things back quite a bit. Just terrible things to happen, to a band when they're just getting ready to do stuff. More terrible, of course, for the guy who's passing. I don't know much about him. I don't know anything about what happened or anything. I only found it out to just, I think yesterday when I was getting ready to do it and then realized it hadn't come out yet, so I had to put it off. I was looking through a channel that I watch, and I can't think of the guy's name right now, but he always knows everything that's going on before it happens, so I usually listen to see what he has to say, not necessarily what he has to say about the album, because he doesn't really say too much, but just about the technical stuff. So anyways, really unfortunate for the band, but anyways, we will try to do what we can with the album. Okay, so the opening track is called Run in the Shadows. This is one of the two tracks I like the best. The first one, the bookends, are the two I like the best. Vocals are very clear. It's got this heavy riffing, but it's a pretty slow part that is strong as well. So, and you're gonna get, I find I get a lot of that with this album. This kind of almost a ballad type feel to some of the songs, but not really a ballad. Yeah, but within that pace, like really slow and melodic sounding. Here Comes the Rain, of course, which is the title track. Lots of keyboards here, very melodic sounding. The vocals are a little bit more subdued here, but forward at the same time. So even though they're kind of toned down a lot vocally, he still is very frontal on his approaches to these songs. It's a little bit heavier than some of the other songs at points, but also very slow. Some Kind of Treachery is next. A nice piano opening on this particular song. Feels like a kind of a pop, almost a pop feel to this song. A little less heavy than some of the other tunes. Vocals are kind of a little bit on the gruff side as well. And it gets busier, or it builds up and gets a little bit heavier as the song goes along as well. And of course, lots of keyboards and piano. After the Silence is the next tune. Very atmospheric keyboard build up here. The vocals are raspy, but smooth at the same time. I don't know if that makes any sense. They're consistent. They're not bouncing all over the place, I guess. Maybe a better idea of how it went. Very emotional, connecting type song. It's emotionally feeling, and you just feel like if you're listening to it, you're going to get into it. And of course, the piano was very dominating on this particular track. The next one is Blue Tango. This is kind of a power pop guitar song with some heavy riffing and lots of piano. Again, that kind of party rock feel, I think. This one's a little bit more like that. It's got a little bit more of our party rock feel to it than some of the other tracks. Then you have The Day He Lied, I believe that's what it is. I think that's the name of the track. I wrote it down, but I can't make out what that word is that I wrote. Anyways, very heavy opening. Lots of guitar and keyboard dominated on this particular track as well. It's got this voice is raspy, very, very John Bon Jovi like. Sorry, I get my words mixed up there. Yeah, it's a very American feeling kind of song, I think. I don't think these guys are American, though. I think they might be British. Next up, the Seventh Darkness. Starts with that kind of heavy trumpet part, and then a guitar part joins in as you see another Bon Jovi-like vocal, very raspy. A melodic rocker with lots of guitar and, I find it's slow, but it's within the range of what these guys normally do. It's not like none of their songs are too heavy, like almost hard rockish. A couple of them are bordering on a hard rock song, but mostly I just find this is melodic, heavy, melodic, Bon Jovi like music, right? Then you have Broken City. It starts with this kind of cannon-like sound going off. I'm not really sure. It's not a heavy cannon. It's just kind of a background cannon sound. The vocals are almost operatic, but gruff at the same time, and more subdued as well than some of the other tracks. And it ends with this kind of piano part, which is kind of interesting. I think the piano on this may be the strongest part on this whole album. I Want to Live. Another piano opening with lots of guitar build-up. Very poppy. Poppy with a little bit of a hard rock feel at times, but not overly. Vocals were very, very rocky sounding. Yeah, definitely. Guitar ends with this kind of melodic kind of riff towards the end of the song. And then the last song on the end is called Borderline. This is the other song that I like quite a bit. The rest of them, not too memorable, but this one, I did like this quite a bit. Got this keyboard that's kind of subdued at the beginning. Almost got this monster-like feel to it. I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah, I have to think of some other description than that one. Kind of a heavy guitar riff and solo as well. I did like the vocals here. They're all very melodic, very atmospheric, very kind of raspy as he does most of the time. And just overall, it's the whole album is like that. You got these raspy vocals, that are well sounding, but they sound at times very similar to John Bon Jovi. Then you've got this kind of riffing guitar, but it's a slow melodic riffing guitar. It's not fast paced at all. It's not super heavy. It's kind of a poppy feel. The keyboards are very forward on most tracks here. At times they're replaced by the piano, which then is in that spot a little bit more forward. Not a ton of guitar soloing, actually very little. I think there might have been one or two very kind of melodic, Gilmore-ish type guitar solos, but not as heavy. Overall, it wasn't a bad album. It's unfortunately for them that it's going to be their last, but interesting album for what's new, I hope that you get a chance to listen to this. It's probably all over the internet now. I punched in Magnum, Here Comes the Rain. I got like 5 different options to listen to it, and I chose one of them. I generally like to choose the YouTube option because it gives you a list of the tracks, and you can go ahead in each track, and I always kind of like it because it gives you a little bit of information at the top as well. That generally is how I like to do it on the internet. I would never say that I'm a Bandcamp guy or Spotify guy or any of that stuff. Or even the Apple. I just prefer just the YouTube. And so overall, it's a pretty okay album. If you like that melodic hard rock stuff that came out in the early 80s, the John Bon Jovi, or there's quite a few bands in that range. I'm not a big listener to them of that. Even a little bit of Springsteen-ish here, I think, as well at times. Anyways, if you like any of that kind of stuff, you should find this stuff interesting a lot. It's not something that I would buy. However, if I seen it somewhere for $1 or $2, I might grab it. That'll probably be in a few years. Maybe some of their other stuff, I might grab it for $1 or $2, just because I like to have stuff that I don't normally listen to, just to play it once in a while. Just, sometimes by doing that, you kind of grow to like something. That's how it worked with the Doors. My friend insisted that I learn to like the Doors. I refused to. So he gave me one of the Doors albums years ago, and I just kept ignoring it. And then a couple times I ran out of stuff to listen to, so I started playing it. And I grew to like the song Riders on the Storm. And then after that, it was a long time until I got to the point where I now like them quite a bit. So you never know what's going to happen. But generally speaking, this is not music that's in my wheelhouse, so I don't generally listen to it. But I like to try new stuff, so that's what I did today. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode of What's New. Next week, we'll have another album, but it'll go back to Thursday nights. The only reason this one was on the Friday is because I didn't know that it was being released on the Friday until I'd already committed to doing it. So that's why it's like this. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please hit the like and subscribe. Any comments about the album or anything I've said, please put them in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you will not miss any of the content on this channel. We will see you next Thursday with another episode of What's New. Just one last thing to note, that the second installment of the mini-series called Kiss the Originals with Paul Stanley will be on this Sunday. Actually, we're doing Paul Stanley. I don't think he'll actually show up for the episode, but you never know, though. But anyways, that's what we'll be doing. That will be the episode number 2 on Sunday night. So hopefully we'll see you then. Take care. Bye.